Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can create custom transitions in Davinci Resolve 16. And if you don't know what Davinci Resolve 16 is, Davinci Resolve 16 is a free editing software that can give you the same pro tools as something like Premiere Pro, but for free. Usually these videos are super long, but I'm going to try and make these as short as possible and as understandable as possible, so that you can follow along and easily understand how you can make custom animated transitions in Davinci Resolve 16. Let's get right into it. So the way this video is going to go is, first I'm going to explain what nodes are and what animating in Davinci Resolve 16 is like, and especially what the spline is. And then I'm going to just show you what we do, and it should be pretty simple. Also, keep in mind, after you learn this, you'll basically be able to animate anything in Davinci Resolve. So the first thing we want to obviously do is have two clips that we're going to animate a transition between. Alright, there we go. I have my two clips, and these are just random clips that I'm going to use to demonstrate the transitions. So first of all, let's go ahead and launch Resolve. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And as you can see, we are in Davinci Resolve. Now, let me go ahead and explain what animations are in Davinci Resolve. Boom, 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 back, boom, back. Alright, so I've just went ahead and grabbed two random clips and put them in my timeline. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and remove the audio just for you guys so that you don't get confused between my audio and the clip's audio. Okay, so animating in Davinci Resolve 16 is basically using what's called an adjustment clip in the effects tab. And that is going to be our transition animation. In here, inside this clip, is going to be the transition. As you can see, here is normal video, and then here is our clip. And then here we have just normal video. Anyway, inside this clip is all that the animation is going to be. And I'm going to show you exactly how that goes in a second. Now before we go ahead and start animating, we're going to right click this adjustment clip and change the clip duration to 1 second exactly, because we don't want our transition to be too long or too short. So 1 second is usually the best thing. Go ahead and write 01 in there and change. After you've changed the adjustment clip to 1 second, you want to drag it and place it basically over the two clips, but try and make it so that it's in the middle. Do not place it inside the clips, just place it over the two clips. And then select the adjustment clip, place your red big line thingy over them, and then go into this. Now I'm sorry that I forgot what this thing's name is, but I think it's called Fusion. I'm honestly not sure, but we'll have to go with it. Anyway, so this is going to look extremely confusing at the beginning, and you're probably going to go crazy when you first see this. You're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is this, or where the fuck am I even gonna start? But it's way simpler than what it seems. First of all, I just want you to forget about what this is right here for now, and I want you to just focus on these and then these. Alright, we'll take this a step at a time. So these are called nodes, and nodes are basically tabs that have actions in Fusion, which is what we're going to animate in. And basically every node does something that you can see in the inspector tab. As you can see, here is written inspector. To your right, you can see all the things that happen to your nodes, and these nodes have things that they are able to do. So basically in between these two nodes is what our animation is. You can think of this as a tunnel, and then whatever goes in between these two is what's going to happen to our clip. Now focus on these two dots down here. As you can see, the right one is filled with white, which means media out will display on our right view tab, I think it's called. And then if we selected the left one for this one, it will display on our left one. Now for an adjustment clip, media in is the beginning of your clip and media out is the end of your clip. Anyway, let's just get into animating. I'm talking too much. We're going to take our transform node and we're going to hold it down and just put it inside here. It doesn't matter where you put it, you just gotta put it inside. And then basically a transform node will move your clip left or right, up or down. It will do things to your clip, like rotate it, change the aspect ratio, change the size. It will do different things to the clip. Now as you can see, these are the frames of our adjustment clip, and basically we want our transition to start in here and then do something in the middle and then end over here. Now the transition that we're going to be doing today is called the whip pan transition, and basically this is what the transition looks like. And the transition just goes from a direction of a clip to another and has blur on top of it. It's such a simple transition and such a simple thing to do, and we're going to do it today. So the first thing I want to explain to you is basically this. This is just the different frames in your timeline, and what keyframes are, which is one of the things that I want to explain. Keyframes are basically moments that you place that tell your program that at this moment this is going to happen, and then if you place the keyframe after that, it's going to tell the program that at this moment that happened. Let me explain this with a simple animation. Alright, just imagine you have a timeline. Let's say at this moment I wanted a block to appear, and at this moment I wanted a block to disappear, which means I would put a keyframe at this moment, and that keyframe will tell my program that at this moment the block appeared. And I'll put another keyframe at that moment, and at that moment that keyframe will tell my program that this moment that block disappeared. That was a mouthful, and I can't fucking talk. But the point is, this is what keyframing is. If I placed a keyframe over here telling the clip to be at the right, and I placed a keyframe over here telling the clip to be at left, it will move from right to left in this time, which is exactly what we're going to do today. Over here, as you can see, our center is 0.5. And if I move the center, the clip moves left and right, correct? Alright, so basically we're going to place a keyframe at the beginning here, telling our program that at this moment the clip is going to stay exactly where it is. However, we're going to go to the exact center of our thing, just before the cut, one frame specifically before the cut, and then we're going to change this to 1.5, which means that our clip will move to the left. Focus on the right view tab, by the way. Our clip will move from the right to the left at this point, and if we go ahead and view this, as you can see, it's moving to the left. And if I press play, the clip moves from the right side to the left side. The clip moves from the center to the left side, and that's exactly what we want to happen. After this, we're going to place a keyframe at the end over here, which will say 2.5, which means that it moves even more. But the whole point of this is just to set the edges to a mirror, which means when this moves, it just reflects, and it looks like it's moving, but in reality it's just going to be a reflection that's looking like it's moving. So far what we've done is place a keyframe here telling the program that the clip is over here, and we place a keyframe here telling the program that the clip is on the right. However, we set the edges to mirror. After that, we placed a keyframe at the end saying that the clip will be at 2.5, which means it will go back to its natural state. And then look at you, you've just done a simple rotation animation. Now, this is where the spline comes in play. This area over here is called the spline, as you can see. And what this does is changes the time and action of your animation. If you look at this, over here is the time, which is your frames in the clip. And over here is the amount of actions that are happening. So if we selected all of this and pressed S, that will smoothen out our graph, you know? So that will make our animation look way smoother compared to the one before. And so that's what we're going to be using today. We're going to look at this middle one. We're basically going to take this and then just rotate it and make it as long as possible. Well, not as long as possible, just as long as, you know, is looking good. And the reason we do that is so that the action over here builds up with time, and over here, as you can see, the time space is super small, yet the action is massive, which means that a lot will happen in such a small amount of time, and then it will ease off. And that gives us exactly what a whip band does. That big flick to the left. After that, our whip band kind of looks boring, right? So we're going to go ahead and open effects. At the top left, we're going to open Resolve Effects Blur. Then we're going to take Directional Blur, hold it, and then drop it inside our so-called tube. Now after that, I want you to look at this spline and remember where our keyframes are. So as you can see, this keyframe is where the animation starts to begin. Over here is where it peaks, and then over here is where it settles. Which means that we're going to start at this keyframe and we're going to take our directional blur. And before we do anything, we're going to set the blur strength to 1. Because as you can see, this is a 45-degree angle. And our transition is not going at 45 degrees. It's going at exactly 180 degrees. Which means we will want that to happen. Also, what the fuck is this shit? Go to border type and we're going to set that to reflect. And it will look really nice. Anyway, set that back down to 0. And again, place a keyframe here, because as you know, we gotta tell our program that at this moment this is going to happen. And if we go to the middle of our transition, we can set the blur to the highest, and then over here we could set it back down so that we can watch the video again. And after all that, we can go ahead and watch our transition. Now that is a whip pan transition. It quickly just flicks from one thing to another and then just goes back to normal. It looks pretty fine, it looks pretty simple, and if I were you, I would just also smoothen this thing out. And there you go, you have now made your first ever custom transition. Keep in mind you can also use the transform node to move the clip up and down, or maybe even to the opposite direction. All you have to go is do -1.5 and -2.5 if you're moving to the left, and then for the y-axis do the same thing we did with the x-axis. Anyway, here is your first ever transition on Davinci Resolve. Did you see how easy that is? Basically, that might have been a bit complicated, but do that in around 4 more videos and you'll just be super easy with it. You'll be flowing. It will be so nice, and then you can make more transitions using things like backgrounds and rectangles and different shit that you could see over here. Anyway, that is the simplest way to make a transition in Davinci Resolve 16. And if we go ahead and watch it again, here's our clip. That's the transition, and it moves on to a different clip. Now that is pretty epic if you ask me. Anyway, I hope this video has helped you understand what making transitions in Davinci Resolve 16 is like. If you want more of these tutorials, because I couldn't find a good explanation for them, go ahead and comment down what you want me to make a tutorial about, and I'll just make it as soon as I can understand it. I read all the comments, so make sure you comment down. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video if you've enjoyed it so that more people can also see it, and I hope you have a good day. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.